Hi, I'm Mike Cooper. This is my 1933 Ford pickup. It started as a kind of a simple 50s style chopped and channeled and shortened bed pickup, one like I had ridden in once. So my initial idea was to chop the top maybe 4 inches, channel the body completely over the frame rails, and shorten the bed about 12 inches really in the rear, make a set of outside headers, and we'd be done in about 6-8 months. And the problem was, when I got started on the outside headers, I kind of got carried away with the possibility of adding design to the whole equation, and added 2 more runners so that there's 6 pipes, and they kind of snake around and swirl and eventually end up in this sort of a Buck Rogers collector, which changed the whole design. From that point on, I kind of really re-looked at the whole project because I was excited about this design element and really wanted to see what else I could do with the pickup to make it more interesting and more contemporary. So what I did is I actually got way back, took some photographs from the side view, and from those side view photographs I blew those up as Xeroxes, and then started with just a knife and tape, and I cut up sections and reconfigured the car. I think the most important thing was I took the A-pillar and slanted it back about 30 degrees, and with that slanted back, that changed the length of this nose to where originally it was going to have a 32 Ford shell, but then a 33 shell was loaned to me by Kent Fuller, and that just seemed so much nicer with a little sweep which shortened up this distance. But at the same time I had a problem with the radiator. I wanted a short look here to match the rest of the car's length, and it just seemed like, well, let's move the radiator. So the plan sort of changed. Now, where can we put it? I was thinking of putting it underneath the car with ductwork coming from over the top with a radiator somewhere in the bed. And eventually I decided on this configuration, which is an L-shaped design and big air intakes coming from the side like a P-51 Mustang. So that just meant a few more months labor, and then that started to pull together. And that also left one other element completely open to design in the bed, which was the bed face itself. Normally that's wood, and what I decided to do was to kind of do some work like I do with my sculpture, which is to do strip bent laminations, and the laminations flow in and around the exhaust so that you can see through the bed, and you can see the rear end and various colored elements, and you can see through it like a picket fence. It's very open, very airy, yet it's quite strong. The plan for the air intake was based on kind of the style of the modern AA fuel dragster and funny car, which is typically carbon fiber, and I made a mock-up in wood and some sketches. This is done with some coffee cans and some wood. This was all done with a milling machine using a rotary table so that you could just position it in a variety of ways. So the plan was for 2 pieces of aluminum, and the bottom would be made of 6-inch billet, and the top would be 3-inch, and that weighed about 270, 280 pounds, eventually whittled down to about 25. The bottom has the carburetor, an air cleaner, all the fuel lines, linkage, and so forth, which is internal. And it's all worked externally by the normal butterfly linkage connectors. A great deal of the machine work was done on a Bridgeport Mill with a rotary table, and it was all done manually. It actually took about 17 days, and it seemed like it was going actually quite fast because there's so many hot chips flying around and it's noisy and so forth. But it was a great deal of fun, and I think it works pretty good. The actual fuel line is this one to the passenger side, and it comes into this manifold, but all of this is actually dummy lines. It kind of looks like injector lines or what have you, but the fuel goes through a T, and this gauge is operating. It goes around and into a float filter for the carburetor. And then one other kind of last little detail was to add a pneumatic wing to the whole thing, like the early Chaparral race cars. Well, Ron, I want to thank you very much for coming by today and letting me show you a little bit more about the Tubester. I hope we can get in it and ride it around the country sometime real soon.